I don't think my oldest daughter is mine, and it's killing me inside. I'm Michael, a 32-year-old man grappling with a haunting suspicion. Allow me to introduce the key players in this story. First, there's Emma, my ex-wife, also 32, a complex character who played a significant role in our tumultuous 10-year marriage, marked by verbal and emotional abuse. Our marriage left scars that may never fully heal. The focus of my life now centers around our two daughters. Lily, our eldest at 10 years old, was born shortly after we exchanged our vows. She possesses physical features that connect her to me: jet black, curly hair, and olive skin. These were the attributes that served as a constant reminder of our connection, a bond I cherish deeply. Then there's Rachel, 8 years old, who has always been a mirror image of her father. She shares my features, and every time I look at her, I'm reminded that she's undoubtedly mine. But it's Lily who has become the source of my torment. She bears an uncanny resemblance to Emma, not only in physical attributes but also in her general facial structure. Most notably, it's her blonde hair that distinguishes her from the rest of the family. These differences have been gnawing at my mind, leaving me with a constant itch of doubt. The doubt began to creep in slowly but persistently. I found myself awake at night, staring at the ceiling, my mind racing with questions that I couldn't ignore. It was Lily, our eldest daughter, who was at the center of it all. She was 10 years old, and I couldn't help but wonder, is she really my daughter? Lily's features, from her general facial structure to her distinctive blonde hair, bore a striking resemblance to Emma, my ex-wife. It was a connection I couldn't escape, and it gnawed at me incessantly. Meanwhile, Rachel, our 8-year-old daughter, seemed like a mirror image of me. Her olive skin and jet black curly hair left no room for doubt. But it was Lily's differences from Rachel and me that kept the doubt alive. Her face, though similar, seemed to align more with Emma, and the blonde hair was a stark contrast to the rest of the family. As the days turned into weeks, I found myself unable to escape the troubling questions that haunted my thoughts. The doubt about Lily's parentage continued to grow, casting a long shadow over our family. I couldn't ignore it any longer, and it was time to confront the unsettling questions that had taken root in my mind. Then, it all came to a head one evening when Emma and I attended our high school reunion party. The event took place in a grand ballroom, and the nostalgia of old friends and acquaintances surrounded us. In the midst of the celebration, I noticed Daniel's presence. He had been a friend from our high school days, and here he was, 31 years old, with his distinctive blonde hair and an uncanny resemblance to Lily's features. The setting, the school where as we mingled with old friends and shared stories, I couldn't help but observe the connection between Emma and Daniel. Their laughter, shared memories, and a certain closeness had endured over the years. It was clear that their bond had grown stronger since our college days, and as I watched, my suspicions deepened. What struck me most were the undeniable similarities between Daniel and Lily. It wasn't just their hair, it was the way their faces seemed to align, their shared mannerisms, and even the way they smiled. The high school reunion had become a stage for these unsettling observations, and the doubt that had been gnawing at me for so long took root in a place filled with memories from our past. I knew I had to find answers to the questions that now consumed my thoughts. The turning point occurred during our high school reunion, where we reminisced about the past. Amidst the conversations and laughter, I found myself flipping through Daniel's photo album, filled with old memories. There, tucked among the pages, was a photograph that sent shivers down my spine. In that photo, it was Daniel holding Lily, who appeared to be about a year old, in his arms. The striking resemblance between them was undeniable, from the blonde hair to the joy in their eyes. As he shared the photograph, he said with a hint of nostalgia, "Just a memory from Lily's first birthday." The room was filled with the chatter of old friends, and no one noticed the significance of that moment. My heart raced as I showed the photograph to Emma, my voice quivering. "Do you remember this, Emma? What's the story behind this photo?" The photograph had resurfaced during a night of reminiscence, but it cast a long shadow of doubt over our shared history. The truth, whatever it might be, was waiting to be uncovered. Amidst the growing doubts and unsettling discoveries, an internal struggle waged within me. I couldn't escape the questions that loomed like dark clouds over our family. It was a torment that gnawed at my mind, and I found myself torn between confronting the suspicions and preserving the semblance of our family life. Every day, as I watched Lily and Rachel, the questions echoed louder in my mind. It was the internal battle between love and doubt, between the fear of the unknown and the desire to protect our family's fragile peace. Could I bring myself to shatter the delicate balance we had, or would I continue to grapple with the unspoken truths that lurked in the shadows? A glimpse into our troubled marriage revealed the emotional abuse that had marked our 10 years together. It was a story of harsh words, wounds that cut deeper than any physical pain, and the scars that we both carried. The memories of those tumultuous years were etched into my soul, a painful reminder of what we had endured. Our marriage had been a roller coaster of emotions, a turbulent ride marked by arguments, hurtful accusations, and an unspoken distance that grew between us. The emotional abuse had left scars that no one could see, but they ran deep, affecting every aspect of our lives. As I delved into these memories, I couldn't help but wonder if the troubles in our marriage had led to the doubts that now consumed me. The past and the present seemed intertwined, and I knew that unraveling the truth would be a journey fraught with pain and uncertainty. During one of our arguments, Emma noticed my emotional turmoil and addressed it head-on. She said, "Why are you so emotional about this, Michael? You have no reason to doubt. Remember, she's a girl, and girls often resemble their mothers more. It's only natural." Her words struck a chord, and I found myself torn between the reassurance they offered and the doubts that still plagued my mind. She suggested, "If you want, we can take a DNA test," but it hadn't silenced the unsettling questions that continued to haunt me. Lily's curiosity about her family's dynamics became increasingly evident. She was a perceptive 10-year-old, sharp beyond her years, and she had a knack for asking the questions that no one else dared to voice. She began to notice the subtle shifts in our interactions, the moments of silence, and the forced smiles that passed between Emma and me. She observed the complexities that surrounded us, and her questions left me in a constant state of unease. As I looked into her curious eyes, I couldn't help but worry about the impact that the truth, whatever it might be, would have on her young heart. The revelation that I feared might shatter the innocence she held dear, and I was torn between protecting her and uncovering the unsettling mysteries that clouded our family. The next twist in our story arrived when Daniel unexpectedly reappeared in our lives. After years of relative silence, he began to reach out to Emma, engaging in casual chats and conversations that raised my suspicions. The tension was palpable whenever his name was mentioned, and the atmosphere at home grew increasingly strained. I couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to their renewed connection than met the eye. What was the reason behind his return to our lives, and what secrets lay beneath the surface? It was as if our past was coming back to haunt us, and I couldn't ignore the unease that settled in the pit of my stomach. Daniel's presence and his newfound rapport with Emma only deepened the mysteries surrounding our family, and I knew that the answers I sought were buried within these enigmatic interactions. In my memory, everything began to add up. Our deeper exploration of Michael and Emma's early college years revealed the prominent figure of Daniel. These were our college sweethearts days, and Daniel's presence was impossible to ignore. He was a charismatic and enduring friend who seamlessly integrated himself into our lives. During that time, the three of us formed a close-knit group, sharing dreams, secrets, and countless memories. Daniel, with his charm and magnetic personality, was the constant in our lives. He was the friend who was always there, providing support, laughter, and a listening ear during both the best and most challenging times. Emma's bond with Daniel was particularly strong, and my friendship with him was equally robust. We navigated the ups and downs of college life together, forming connections that would influence our futures in complex and unexpected ways. As I delved into these memories, everything began to click into place. I couldn't help but wonder how the dynamics of that era had set the stage for the uncertainties that now loomed over our present. The past held the answers to understanding the intricate relationship between Emma, Daniel, and me. Unearthing these truths was essential to unraveling the mysteries that had come to define our family. In an effort to address my growing doubts, I engaged in a delicate conversation with Emma. I gently proposed the idea of arranging a gathering that would bring together both Daniel's family and our own. It appeared to be a simple and innocent plan, an opportunity to strengthen our friendships and revisit shared memories from our past. Yet beneath the surface of this seemingly ordinary gathering lay a hidden motive, one that I had concealed in my heart. It was a subtle attempt to either confirm or dispel the nagging doubts that had taken root within me. I yearned for the chance to see Daniel's child, Ethan, and determine if the resemblance to Lily was more than just a quirk of fate. Emma agreed to the proposal, and the preparations for the event were set into motion. The anticipation continued to build within me as the date of the gathering drew near. This step was undeniably crucial, as it held the potential to provide the answers I sought, to either confirm or dismiss the eerie similarities that gnawed at my conscience. As we got ready for the gathering, my heart raced with a mixture of hope and apprehension. I remained steadfast in my determination to uncover the truth, to settle the mysteries that had cast a shadow over our family, once and for all. When we finally gathered and met Daniel's children, especially Ethan, it was impossible to ignore the clear similarities between the kids and Lily. It was as if they shared a secret genetic code that made them resemble each other in almost every way. The vivid description of Ethan's resemblance to Lily only intensified my unease. It was a stark reminder that the questions I had harbored were far from resolved, and the enigma surrounding our family's past continued to cast a long shadow over our present. As the resemblance between Daniel and Lily continued to play out in front of him, Michael's turmoil reached its breaking point. He could no longer contain the storm of emotions that raged within him. One evening, during a moment when their families were gathered together, the tension in Michael's heart boiled over. Unable to maintain his composure any longer, he turned to Daniel and Emma and blurted out, "I can't keep this to myself any longer. I have suspicions, and they're tearing me apart. I need the truth, I need proof. I need to know if Lily is truly my daughter." The words hung in the air, a heavy silence following his explosive revelation. It was a moment of reckoning, a point of no return. In the aftermath of my explosive revelation, an uncomfortable silence settled over the room. The weight of my words hung heavily in the air, and time seemed to slow down. Amidst the tension, Emma, always the voice of reason, spoke softly, "Michael, you've had a bit too much to drink. Let's head home and discuss this another time." She guided me toward the door, and we left the unanswered questions behind. As we returned home, the gathering had offered no answers, but I felt an unusual sense of confidence. It was as though I had unburdened myself from the fears and doubts that had haunted me for so long. The mysteries that had tormented me were far from solved, but in that moment, I had taken a significant step toward the truth. In the aftermath of the gathering and the escalating tensions within our family, Emma and I made the difficult decision to take a break from one another. During this period of separation, Emma's world was further shaken when her mother fell seriously ill and had to be hospitalized. Emma made the choice to move in with her mother to provide care and support during this trying time, taking Lily with her. It was a step she felt compelled to take, given the gravity of her mother's condition. As Emma and I drifted apart, our conversations becoming infrequent, another presence began to fill the void. Daniel, who was familiar with Emma's mother, started visiting the hospital as well. His presence, previously linked to Lily, now offered much-needed emotional support to Emma during this difficult period. While Daniel's intentions were undoubtedly well-meaning, I couldn't help but feel a growing unease. As the days turned into weeks, Emma and Daniel's bond seemed to strengthen, deepening the wedge between us. Lily's growing attachment to Daniel continued to weigh heavily on my mind. It was as if their bond had deepened further, forming an unspoken connection that transcended the boundaries of a typical family friend. I couldn't escape the nagging feeling that there was more to their relationship than met the eye. While my suspicions swirled within, I couldn't help but notice how Emma had also grown closer to Daniel. In the wake of her mother's hospitalization, the emotional support she found in him had solidified their connection. They spent hours talking and comforting one another, sharing their deepest concerns and fears. As the days turned into weeks, the gulf between Emma and me grew wider. Our conversations were limited to logistical matters, and the emotional chasm that had emerged during our break only seemed to deepen. Daniel's presence in our lives had not only complicated matters but it also added a layer of distance between us. As the days passed and the complexities of our family situation continued to unravel, I found myself in a state of dissonance. While my suspicions and unease still lingered, I recognized the need to step up and provide Emma with the support she required during this challenging time. It was a delicate balance, maintaining my quest for answers while also being there for Emma and Lily. I wanted to be the husband and father they needed, to offer the comfort and understanding that had been strained by the shadows of doubt. The surprise visit to Lily's birthday party became a turning point. Emma and I put aside our differences for the sake of our daughter's celebration, and it was during this event that Emma broached the subject of a significant change in our lives. She suggested that she needed to move from our current state, a move that would take her to the state where their cousins and also Daniel lived. Emma reasoned that her cousins resided in that state, and they could provide the emotional support she needed during her mother's illness. The idea struck me with a mix of surprise and resignation. It was a decision that seemed practical and necessary under the circumstances, but it also carried a weight of its own. As I contemplated the future, I couldn't escape the realization that our family's destiny was at a crossroads. "I'm back," I told Emma with determination, hoping to convey that I was there to support her during this challenging time. But Emma's response was unwavering. "I've already made plans, Michael," she said with a resolute tone. "I've talked to my cousins, and we're moving to our grandmother's house. It's empty, and we'll be closer to my family for support." Her decision hung heavily in the air, and it was clear that Emma had given it much thought. The die was cast, and there was little room for discussion. The future that lay before us was one of change and uncertainty. As I tried to reconcile the idea of her moving to a different state, my mind raced with questions. What would this change mean for our family? How would it affect Lily, and what role would Daniel play in this new chapter of our lives? I was determined to support Emma in this new chapter of our lives, whatever it might bring. In the wake of Emma's decision to move to another state, a deep sense of resistance welled up within me. I couldn't bear the thought of our family being further fractured by distance, especially with Lily caught in the middle. Despite my misgivings, I understood the gravity of Emma's situation and her need for familial support during her mother's illness. However, as the weeks passed, I felt a growing chasm between us. Emma began to distance herself, not returning my calls or responding to my text messages. I tried desperately to maintain a sense of relevance in her life, to bridge the gap that had emerged between us. But then, in one heart-wrenching incident, Emma proposed something that I had feared but didn't want to accept. We had a conversation where she confessed, "I no longer want to be with you, Michael." The words struck me like a thunderbolt, shattering the fragile hope I had held onto. It was a declaration of our separation, a stark reminder of the irreversible changes that were occurring within our family. I felt as though the ground had crumbled beneath my feet, leaving me in a state of emotional turmoil and uncertainty. As I grappled with this painful truth, I couldn't help but wonder if this decision was a result of the mysteries and suspicions that had plagued us. Emma's words, a painful acknowledgement of our changing reality. She expressed her desire for a divorce, and although a part of me understood the weight of her decision, I couldn't help but resist it. I wanted to agree with her, to make the process as painless as possible, but deep down, I still clung to a sliver of hope. In a desperate attempt to maintain some semblance of connection, I even considered the idea of moving to the state where she was relocating. I thought that by being closer, I might have a chance to repair the broken bonds between us. However, Emma's response was clear and resolute. "You can't add anything to my life right now," she told me, her voice filled with a mixture of sadness and finality. "I'm content with where I am, and I need this divorce." Following the bittersweet divorce, my focus shifted to Lily, our precious daughter who had been caught in the midst of our tumultuous journey. It was a time for important decisions, and I found myself standing at a crossroads. I approached Lily, concerned about her well-being and the impact of the divorce on her young life. I asked if she wanted to move with me, to continue our life together as a family. Her response was unexpected but revealing. She looked at me with an air of maturity beyond her years and said, "I'm good where I am, Dad. Mom is happy now, and she has a father figure in her life." I was struck by the poise and certainty in her words. It was clear that she had found solace in the presence of Daniel, a man who had become a significant figure in her life. It was a bittersweet moment for me, knowing that my daughter had found stability and happiness in a new family dynamic. However, as the weeks passed, Emma's state began to worsen. She fell into a deep depression, her emotions in turmoil. Once again, Daniel stood by her side, offering the support that seemed to be a recurring theme in our lives. But the most painful blow came when Lily, in a moment of anger and confusion, blamed me for what had happened to her mom. The weight of her accusation pierced through me, a reminder of the complexities and repercussions of our family story. And then, as if to cement her newfound attachment, Lily made a choice that would have a lasting impact. She chose to adopt Daniel's last name, a symbolic act that caused me immense emotional distress. It was a stark manifestation of her loyalty to the new family she had found, a family that seemed to provide the stability and love she needed. During the summer visit to Emma, Daniel, and the girls, I witnessed the culmination of the changes that had been brewing in their lives. It became evident that Daniel had separated from his wife due to the emotional support and connection he had found with Emma. As a result, their relationship had deepened, and Daniel had transitioned into a more permanent role within their family, displacing the man I once trusted. My arrival at their home was met with a mix of emotions, including longing and apprehension. The girls, Lily and Rachel, seemed to have adapted to their altered family structure, finding happiness in their new arrangement. However, it was during a conversation with Lily that I was taken aback by a disconcerting comment. She expressed her desire for a real sibling, someone who shared her DNA. Her words pierced through me, leaving me with a complex blend of sorrow and frustration. I yearned to address the situation, to talk to Lily and make her comprehend that her family was already real, despite the unconventional circumstances. Yet, my emotional turmoil made it challenging to find the right words. I couldn't simply ignore the unsettling comment Lily had made during my visit, especially as she was now 11 years old enough to comprehend the weight of her words. I knew it was time to have a candid conversation with Emma. We found a quiet moment when Daniel and Lily were occupied, and I broached the subject that had been haunting me. "Emma," I began, my voice filled with concern, "I need to talk to you about Lily's comments. She mentioned having other real sibling, and it's been bothering me." Emma's eyes met mine, and I could see the weight of the situation reflecting in her gaze. She took a deep breath before she spoke. "Michael, there's something I need to confess. It's about Daniel." I leaned in, ready to listen to whatever she had to say. Emma's history with Daniel was a piece of the puzzle I had been trying to put together. She began to share her feelings, explaining that she had developed a deep connection with Daniel during all our times together since teens, and now deepened after our separation. She recounted the emotional turmoil she had experienced during that period and how Daniel had been her source of support. Furthermore, Emma revealed a deeper layer of her emotions. She described her upbringing with alcoholic parents, a past marked by instability and insecurity. Daniel had offered her a sense of stability, and her feelings for him had existed since their teenage years. She confessed that she had desired a future with me, but my suspicions had created an insurmountable barrier. The weight of her admissions left me in turmoil. It was a complex web of emotions, desires, and unspoken truths. Emma's confession extended beyond our history. It delved into her own feelings and experiences. Emma continued, "Michael, you need to know something else. I believe Lily is likely to be Daniel's, and I've known this for some time, except I didn't know how to tell you." In the wake of Emma's revelations and the complex emotions that had come to light, I decided to pursue a DNA test for Lily. I needed to know the truth, regardless of Emma's confession. The process of arranging the DNA test was both nerve-wracking and agonizing. It felt like a final step, a culmination of years of questioning and searching for answers. It was a path I couldn't turn away from. When the results of the DNA test finally arrived, I braced myself for the truth. I unfolded the report, my heart pounding with anticipation and fear. The words on that paper confirmed what I had long suspected, what Emma had hinted at, and what Lily's comments had implied. Lily was not my biological daughter. The shock and the weight of that revelation hit me like a tidal wave. I sat there, the paper in my trembling hands, feeling a mix of emotions, disbelief, sorrow, anger, and an overwhelming sense of loss. The truth had come to light, but it was a truth that shattered the foundations of my identity and our family. I knew that our lives would never be the same. The years of love and care, the shared memories, and the experiences we had as a family now carried a different weight. The reality was harsh, but it was a reality we had to confront. As I looked at Lily, my heart ached. She was still the same girl I had loved and cared for, and our bond was deeper than blood. But the knowledge that she wasn't biologically mine changed the way I saw our family and our shared history. Please subscribe, as we post twice a day.